All right, Luca Nation, welcome back to Lucas Tigers and Bronze, episode 873. Probably one of my last two episodes from the
Ever?
home. No, from the home, from Philadelphia, going back to Florida this weekend. Really awesome episode coming up for you guys tomorrow with a true collector, someone whose collection is absolutely revered. And I think you guys are gonna really love tomorrow's episode. So stay tuned, bookmark, subscribe, like. As we head into the holiday season, as we game plan for 2023, we're really excited for some of the stuff we have brewing for our awesome Luca Nation community. Today's episode will be baseball free agency, get Cage's thoughts on, who are. I have a feeling he's going to love the Padres moves because Cage is a huge Bogarts fan. We'll talk a little bit about the NBA. And then I want to talk about a card I love, and it's probably my grail card that will lead to a different topic.
Wow, that's a lot of stuff. I was just going to say, what'd you think of the Jeff Wilson show yesterday that we were both on? And I'm wondering, guys, comment on YouTube if you watched that. I'm curious to see how much of our regular audience also watched I don't know exactly what it was yesterday, but we really showed up. It was fun.
The truth is I committed to that show before all of the news with the BBP loans came out. And I'm not somebody who flakes on my commitments. So what did I think?
More or less than 12. How many DMs did you get saying why would you go on there with the PPP guy?
People don't DM me. They DM you with problems for whatever reason. They don't come to me.
I had a lot of DMs about that.
I don't flake on commitments. It's that simple. It wasn't the most enjoyable of events. It probably took longer than it should for like a 10-minute spot where we got asked 2 questions. I admire the effort it takes to put something like that together. So I respect the game, but we try to be nonpartisan when it comes to this channel, right? Like the hobbies quickly, Republicans, Democrats, influencers, collectors, all this stuff, and we kind of draw lines in the sand. I don't think that having a conversation with someone is the same as doing business with them or taking money. But I understand the optics and all that stuff. So I think about it a lot, but the commitment was made and I don't flake on commitments. That's my take on it.
I'm with you. I like that. I like that take. I definitely do. I'll give you a take. I'm surprised. I expected to go on there with Jeff's 103,000 person following and wake up the next morning and have more than 3,518 followers. And I had 3,518 again. And I was a little surprised. But it's mostly because I don't understand how the internet and social media works. Like, it's not just a magic fairy that says, you have appeared on the show, and boom, followers will follow you there. Also, my name was not written anywhere. Mostly my fault because when they asked for a headshot and all that stuff, I didn't respond. I just showed up with a dancing elf Andrew head. Andrew Goldberg, Lucas Tigers. So I mean, it's like probably 95% of that is my fault. But I'm still trying to figure out how the magic internet works.
Cage has a theory. If it's that important, they'll ask you twice.
That is my theory. It's really important.
If it's really important, yeah.
That's my theory. Too long. It's gotten me this far.
Which is crazy because Too Long didn't read. Kelly, great emails. I didn't read any of them. But your post about Golden, that was an essay.
Do you know I found out what the character limitation was on Instagram? It's 2,200 characters. You know how I found that out? Because I tried to post it and it didn't work. And I had to Google character limit. Like you can copy and paste your text in and it'll tell you which social media platform you're able to post that on, and I got it down to exactly 2,200 characters. I don't care. It's what I was thinking. I mean,
it'd be a cool Instagram feature if you could record a voice message under the photo, so you could still do the caption, but if you could have like a little play button where you could have Cage reading maybe a minute to 2 minutes what his thoughts were on that post,
and I could do it as Frank Caliendo doing Morgan Freeman.
He's so good. He's such a good impersonator.
I'm here. I've decided to take my talents to South Beach. Whatever the hell he says, he does it really well. I can do Bane. I can do Bane great. I can do Venom the best.
You just cover your mouth. That's
me. That's me on mute.
Oh,
dude, yeah. I realized that was long, and that is not what Instagram is for. I would have videotaped myself reading it, after I was like, oh, maybe I won't type this up. But I was feeling it. I'm like, let me get this out there. I mean, it was definitely met with some criticism. I'll tell you that much. I got a lot of, comments, like, what the hell is this? Or, and you could see the comments. I got a lot of DMs like, what is this? But I mean, dude, there are people who I think do a good job of the hobby. You want to question their motives? That's fine. Whether he's doing it for himself or for the hobby, it's bringing eyeballs. It was on the damn news last night. So,
Right. And I mean, it's an interesting time, right? Like with the whole SBF thing, now the influencers that were paid money to promote the business that cost other people money, it's a very sensitive line to kind of toe. And it's like, well, do you want to associate with them? And then you go into the whole, what is association, right? Like, where do you draw the line? Is being seen at the same event, is that the line? Is taking money from someone the line? So it's just an interesting thing that I myself at 32 years old am trying to figure out.
I hear you. All right, so you had a bunch of topics, and we went off on a little tangent.
It's okay.
Baseball free agency. The numbers are amazing. The Padres are amazing because they offered nearly $400 million to Judge. And, they're going in there with all this money. I mean, it's pretty nuts. And
I have a question right off the bat for you, though.
Shoot, please.
Mets investing in pitchers, Padres investing in hitters. What would you be doing?
I would probably be trying to do both, but ultimately you don't have all that say. So what pitchers are available right now? Right? So Verlander was available. He might not have wanted to go out to California. I don't know. And the Mets may have offered more money. If it's a money thing, I don't know. I mean, this is one of those things where a lot of people are saying the Padres are wasting money. Like, how are they going to be able to do all this stuff? They got, Soto, and they've got Machado making a ton of money, huge contract. And they've got Tatis with a huge contract who's missing a chunk of the year. Now they've signed Xander Bogaerts to an 11-year, $280 million deal, which is, about $25 a year. But I read into this a little bit. I think that ownership of the Padres, and it would actually, what I'm about to say would actually lead towards they should go for a Verlander too, or a pitcher now, because their pitching is not so spectacular. I think they're worried that the talent that's there may not stay there. Like Soto can walk in 2 years, within the next 2 years. Machado can opt out and walk in the next 2 years. Signing a Bogaerts and having, Tatis under the contract at least gets them, something guaranteed for more than the next couple of years. And more importantly, Soto's cheap right now. They have a cheap Soto for the next couple of years.
Why?
Because he's still under a smaller deal. You could look up Soto's contract if you like, but it's not. I mean, he becomes a free agent, I think, after next season. So when they traded for him, they did not extend his contract. So he's still under
he's getting paid $578,000?
Yeah, I think he's still on his rookie number. I mean, he'll become like arbitration eligible and all that stuff. I don't know if he's
his 2022 salary is 17.1.
Yeah, so but that's
he'll
so
be
cheap by comparison. He'll get 18, 19, whatever for arbitration, but that by comparison to what they're paying all these other people, that's a tiny number. But he went to the open market, he'd be well into the 30s for many, many years, maybe even like a Judge number. So
wouldn't he get higher than a Judge number because he's younger?
Maybe. I mean, it depends how many years he went for average value. I mean, like Mookie Betts is about the same age, and he got a 12-year, $365. He got 5 more than Judge, but for 3 more years. Judge's numbers are crazy, but it also begs the next question. I'll get to it in a second. Let me finish my point. I think the Padres may be thinking, like, we need to just go all in now. If we spend our money, great. Like, this is our chance. Look, we just beat the Dodgers last year. And the Dodgers, you could say they got a little worse. You know what I mean? They lost Turner. They re-signed Kershaw. They just lost their closer. The Red Sox signed Kenley Jansen. And the Padres, they'll have Tatis, in the stretch. And now they've added Xander Bogaerts, who he's a great player. He's not a Hall of Fame player. He's a great player. I just think that's probably what it is. It's not like, wow, the Padres are stocking up all of these guys for the next however many. In a couple of years, they're not going to be able to keep all of these guys. And I think they realize that, so they might as well put their chips in now and kind of go all in on this team while they can. Look at that lineup. You know what I mean? Look at the lineup they have. They're spending.
I forgot your favorite guy, Cronenworth.
I mean, but he's on the rookie deal. He's a little older on the rookies, but he's still on his initial cheapy contract also.
Blake Snell, Nick Martinez, Musgrove, and Yu Darvish.
I mean, Musgrove is very, very good. Very, very good. Snell is obviously a talented pitcher. He's not, I don't know, an ace anymore. They could use one more, but you could say that about every single rotation in baseball could use one more. Could they have used Verlander? Sure, but Verlander got 43.3 a year. Like maybe they were more willing to, go a little longer. I could have seen either way of those working for them. I like this move though. I definitely do. Tatis should probably never play shortstop. Bogart's a better shortstop. I heard a crazy thing though, and this is, for my friend Al, who's a Red Sox fan. He's had championships recently. You know what I mean? So he should stop complaining. I haven't seen one since 2009. And, Met fans haven't seen one since 1986. So the real complaints are there. You think that's funny. But the Red Sox hired Chaim Bloom. They hire, this is like Tampa Bay mentality, right? It's like, he says it's your friend who goes to the casino and has enough chips to play at the $100 table, but goes to the $5 table and wants you to be proud of how well he does at his hands and how he uses the $5 bets and only doubles down at the right time, never takes a real gamble move, plays it according to the book, and wins, but wins small. Instead of going out there and playing like the big pot bully that you're supposed to be when you're, in the Boston market and people are expecting you not to finish last in the division 2 of the last 3 years and probably stay there for the foreseeable future. So I heard this stat today. David Ortiz, Dustin Pedroia, and Jason Varitek. So those are obviously
legends,
huge Red Sox names. Their catcher, their Hall of Fame DH, their laser beam hitting second baseman, guys who won championships, who fought wars for those guys. Those are the only 3 Boston Red Sox players in the history of the franchise who have played more playoff games than Xander Bogaerts. The kid won a World Series with them, came up when he was 20 years old. He was like this homegrown young kid who won a series with them and has been their rock there. And go one step further, if you're their new talent, Devers, who I love, at third base, what are you saying to yourself now? Like, I better get out of here as quick as I can, maybe force a trade or something like that, because clearly they're not building like any other team here is building. So it's fun, the ripples that happen. Allegedly, the Red Sox were at like a 6-year, 100-and-something deal. And the Padres came in over top with like 11,280. Like it wasn't even close. They weren't even speaking the same language. So he had to take that deal. I love these winter meetings, man. There's all kinds of rumors, all kinds of stuff. Correa is out there. Dansby Swanson is out there, going to get a decent deal. Two great shortstops. Rodon.
The cool thing about Bogaerts, I know I'm a casual, but like to me, he's always struck me as like Mr. Consistent, right? You know how like in baseball, yeah, you could hit, 300, but how do you hit 300? Do you have these swings? To me, it always struck me that you know what you're getting from this guy year in and year out.
Yeah.
And that's important.
He didn't have – so what's funny about him is he's up there like Trey Turner. You see the contract that the Phillies gave him, right? So Xander Bogaerts has had multiple 100 RBI seasons, I believe. He just didn't have one last year when he was, quote, playing for his money. Trey Turner has never had one until he just got 100 last year for the first time. Look at his numbers before that, 70, 40-something, 50-something. But he played for his money this year, and hell, he got it. He got a big contract. Bogaerts is coming off what some would consider an off year with like 70-something RBIs. Would have been Trey Turner's second best year. You know what I mean? But, he's still young. He's a talented player. And, he was definitely, I thought, worth more to the Red Sox. I'm happy to have him out of our division. He was a Yankee killer. He really was.
Can I ask?
Shoot.
To me, Bryce feels like a buy. I know he's missing half the year.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think he's turned some heads, right? Because he was so disliked for a long time. Now I feel like he's in flavor, but he's out with an injury. You have this Phillies team that can make a run, and he's going to come back fresh. Do you think Bryce is worth taking a look at?
It depends on what you're looking at him for. Okay? I'm going to answer your question, yes, I do. But it depends on what you're looking at him for. And I'll explain that. Number one, Bryce is a perfect example of someone who came in with a whole bunch of hype. I think it was 2009 Bowman where he had a USA, his first Bowman card, under 18. And then in 2010, he had the Bowman autos. And, so he's been around for a long time. He came with all this hype. And he didn't exactly perform right off the bat. Trout took a lot of his spotlight, but he still had an MVP season. He still had one, but then it was like 1 year great, 1 year off, right? I mean, Bellinger had an MVP season also and just never got it again. And when you have that great year and you fall off, or when you just don't come out and just rock it, it's very, very difficult to regain that momentum. It's the same thing happens with NFL quarterbacks, believe it or not. Lamar Jackson's a great example. The only thing that changes it is, I believe, a World Series. If Bryce adds a World Series and his team is, doing World Series stuff, I think you could definitely be selling Bryce Harper significantly higher than what you could buy him for now in this offseason. And even when the season starts and he's way out of sight, out of mind because he's injured for the first half of the season. That said, I believe even if he does win a World Series, his cards go down. But look at Bryce's career numbers and look at his age, all right? And if the health is the thing, health and consistency. So this health was, this kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, he played through the whole World Series and then boom, he's out. But if he maintains some semblance of health, he could really put up some gaudy career numbers for home runs, for RBIs. I mean, the dude is younger than Judge. The people don't realize that. Bryce Harper is younger than Aaron Judge. So, people are like counting Aaron Judge's home runs. Bryce Harper has significantly more home runs than Judge has already, and he's going to have probably a significantly longer career.
If you trust card ladder indexes, over the last 2 years, Bryce cards are up 57%. Mm-hmm. Over the last year, they're up 40%. Over the last 6 months, they're up 15%. 3 months, they're 5%. And 1 month, they're down 2%, just to give you guys a little data.
Yeah.
Behind some.
I mean, they ran up. They ran up during the season. I ran up during the playoffs. He won World Series run. I've been talking about buying Bryce forever. I like him as a player. I love the career numbers. He came in as like a brash youngster. Didn't win any fans in the collecting world that way, and came in with like a Zion-like expectation. Seriously, like it's
tough to live up to, no matter what you do.
Sports Illustrated cover, that kind of stuff. Like it was LeBron in 2003 and then him. And what was amazing about it is that same year was Strasburg. Strasburg came in and was just throwing gas, and everyone was going after Strasburg's cards. So it's a great question. I think the other difficult part with Bryce is what cards to buy. You know what I mean? There's so much stuff.
Topps and Prism, right?
Prism's not licensed, but yes, he's got the 2012 Prism. First year Prism is like he's got a rookie card in there. So it's I like Bryce. I think he's one of those guys that we just watched with Pujols hitting 700 home runs. You could see that at the end of Bryce's career.
What about like unlicensed flawless autos with Bryce or Topps dynasties?
Yeah, I like the Topps, like tier ones, the dynasty ones, like they're the relic ones, 100%. Then they're patch autos. They have nice stuff in there. There's cool ones. The thing is, there's a lot. Bryce has been around for a long time, man.
Early season predictions for next year? Anything
for baseball? I want to see how the rest of the free agency and markets shape up. There's still a lot of moves to be made. I think there might be some trades and that kind of stuff. I really want to watch Ohtani because Ohtani's a free agent next year. And the rumor mill has that the Mets are gunning to basically just back up the Brinks truck for him. And if he
Not for this season, right?
No,
for next season.
For next season, right? When he's a free agent. Now, keep in mind, if the Angels jump out to a crappy start, you're going to start hearing, it might not even make it till May. It might be April. It might be the first full month of baseball, and you're going to hear Ohtani trade rumors. The Angels are never going to make it into the playoffs. You might as well get something for him now instead of letting them, the talent of the generation, pitching and hitting, walk for nothing. Let the Angels get back some, farm system, and every team with money is going to look to grab them, as a rental and or to lock them up. So that's really going to be the story of next year. I mean, Ohtani's stuff went up a lot, but he's going to be the talk of the whole year because this is his walk year.
Where are the Mets getting all this money?
They have a billionaire owner.
So this, how every league is different. You could just, as much as you want to pay, you just pay in baseball.
So I could get the numbers for you, but I believe there are luxury taxes in baseball. I think it's like 250, then like 270, then like 280, 290. Once you get above a number, you pay a 50% luxury tax. And then above another number, it's 60, 70, that's like 95% luxury tax. So there is basically a soft cap where per year you need to spend, I think it's under 250 for your team. And if you go over that number, you get hit with the luxury tax. And I think if you go over it like 5 years in a row, you get double the luxury tax. Like so, and that money goes to a pool that gets spread amongst the other teams. So, like Tampa doesn't spend money, the Pirates don't spend money, and they get some of the money from the luxury tax from the other teams to kind of,
the business of sport is really fascinating, right? Because like it's depends so much on your strategy. Because if you're the Pirates, right, maybe you have no intention to win. Maybe you have intention just as the owner to make money, right? And you just don't spend. You have a farm system. You make money on that, and then you make money on the luxury tax. Borussia Dortmund is a good example of that in soccer. They breed all of this amazing talent. I mean, they grow all this organic talent, and then they sell it off, and the owners profit, but they never really bring home championships.
I mean, listen, if that's what they're there for, to be a proving ground, then great. Listen, there's a bunch of stuff that goes into this. The money is amazing, and we can put the exclamation point on it this way. I read an article this morning about Judge's value to the Yankees. All right, Judge's value to the Yankees in everything from ticket sales to jersey sales to you name it. I had a business development call today, and somebody said that the Yankee ticket salesman called them last week and said, "Hey, can I get you, your re-up on your season tickets?" And he said, "You call me the day after you lock down 99." And they called him today, and he re-upped.
Judge is that popular?
So listen, it's a homegrown talent. If you can't keep that guy, who are you going to keep? But not just that. I mean, like it puts butts in the seats. It sells tickets. It sells jerseys. It sells judges' chambers, gowns, and wigs and gavels in the concession stands. I read an article that said that Judge's value to the Yankees is approximately $120 million per year to the Yankees for their TV broadcasting rights to the whole 9 yards. It probably was more this year during the chase. So think about that for a second. Let's say they were in the top bracket of the luxury tax and they had to pay double, and they paid Judge $40 million a year, and they got taxed 95% on that. That means it costs $75 million for Judge, but they're going to make $120 million on him anyway, right? So we can all sit here as like, Monday morning quarterbacks and be like, the Yankees are idiots. They're spending too much money. Aaron Judge is not worth that. He's going to fall apart. You're only going to get 3 good seasons out of him. But, they're looking at it like we just paid him $360. He's worth $120. If we get 3 good seasons out of him, we just broke even as a business. So, a lot of stuff that doesn't go into it. The flip side is this. I've watched the winter meetings. I've watched baseball, hot stove, you name it. I love this stuff. Baseball doesn't really stop. Here we are in the beginning of December, and you got deals like crazy, right? The hot stove is fun. A lot of who's going where, you name it. And we're going through a little bit of ourselves. December's a fun time. A lot of hobby businesses call up Andrew and be like, "Hey, you want some money? How do we get in business with Luca, Tigers, and Browns?" It's like the winter meetings of hobby content. It's pretty amazing. But I love the back and forth. But what's funny is I can't put my finger on a contract from the last couple of years, but like Mookie Betts might be one. Bryce Harper. Like when these contracts get signed a couple years ago, you're like, what? They're giving him 10 years at $30 million a year. They're going to pay him $30 million a year when he's 38 years old. And then a couple years later, somebody else comes in and signs a contract that's now $40 million a year. So right now, taking a snapshot of the Aaron Judge contract or any of these other contracts, you think to yourself, oh my God, they're paying him $40 million 5 years from now. Well, 5 years from now, some 70 RBI guy might be making $30 million a year. You know what I mean? Like the numbers don't ever seem to come down. They only come down in Prism modern cards. They don't seem to come down in baseball contracts. Like when Dansby Swanson commands a $200 million deal in the offseason, nice player. Xander Bogaerts, nice, not a Hall of Fame player. And if he's locking down near $300 million for his contract, well, guess what? It's only going to keep going. And these franchises, these teams, the sport, they're all making money. They're all making killer money. They're all making a lot of money. And I know it's a different sport and the whole deal, but football players, basketball players, they make more. Like we're talking about how much he's baseball. I know the roster is big, but I mean, Lamar Jackson's hurt. I hope he comes back because at the beginning of the season, he turned down a 5-year, $250. That's $50 million a year. He turned that down.
You think he's going to regret it?
No, because he's got a floor. He's an MVP. Some team out there will give him more than that, 100%. Look what Russell Wilson got. He's garbage.
How the Russell Wilson thing? It'll be interesting to see if there's any news that we don't know about that, because that defies logic. They'd be like 9-2 if they scored 18 points in every game.
Yep. I mean, that can't all be him. That can't be all him, I should say. But we shall see. Maybe he's playing with a broken leg and no kidneys. I don't know, but he's definitely not playing like the Russell Wilson we used to seeing in Seattle. I'll tell you that much. There's baseball.
Suns,
what else you got next? The Suns.
Well, I love how you talk about baseball, man. I got to tell you, dude, you are your eyes light up. It's like it's your thing. You know it. I think you know it as well, if not better than anybody.
But you know what? You'll talk about basketball that way in 5 or 10 years. You do it now, but you'll have 10 more years of history with it. So like basketball was not something that people watched in the 80s, early 80s. Like I remember watching Dwight Gooden as a rookie. Michael Jordan was great, but it was, it wasn't televised. Like the sport just hadn't gotten to where it was now. Now, if you got a baseball game and a basketball game on and you put it, my son says, let's watch sports. We're watching basketball. There's no baseball on now, but we watched the Suns Celtics game last night. We watched the whole thing. So I can't wait for you to talk about it. This is just what I grew up watching,
Got a baby crying.
It's all right.
I don't know if there's much to talk about other than I think it's time to call the Suns pretenders.
So let me ask you, is this a West-East thing? Because I'll give you a statement from Ian. He watched the game, and he said, how can that team be the best in the West? Because the Suns are number 1 seed in the West. How can that team be the best in the West? Are they?
It's interesting how the West was the best conference by a landslide maybe just 6, 7, 8 years ago.
Now there's beasts in the East.
The West has maybe it's a LeBron thing. Maybe LeBron causes so much parity in the conference that he's in. No, but
he doesn't make his team better. He makes his division worse. He makes his conference worse. All right.
I think he makes everybody in the conference better, so they're all beating up on each other.
Just say it so we can clip it. LeBron makes the whole league worse. He doesn't make anyone around him better.
For the league. How did we go from the Suns to LeBron?
I don't know. You find a way, though.
I really wanted this Suns team to be something. I like the way they play. I as annoying as CP3 is, you have to respect the career he's had, and you want to see these sort of not legends, because we use that word a lot, but these greats of the game end on a high note, right? And it feels like they were so close. And I think what I've seen in this last year is that window's closed. CP3 isn't it. Ayton shuts down. Like, think about this. So the Celtics don't have a big man. Horford didn't play yesterday, and Robert Williams didn't either.
Nope.
Where was Ayton? Why is Ayton not dominating?
Shooting elbow jump shots. He wasn't even inside.
And
Grant Williams was eating his lunch.
Grant
Williams is like 4 inches shorter.
Right, and this team was so close. They were so close. Best record. They lost that game 7 versus the Mavs, and I know that they're the best team in the West by record, but that was a big game. That was the best team in the best record in the league coming in on your home turf, number 1 seed versus number 1 seed, and you get blown out that was almost by 35 points.
What makes it worse is they were down by 30 the game before and ended up losing by 19, I think, to Dallas. So it's one of those things where it's like, okay, you can forgive them for that game if it was a look ahead to Boston and they showed up for the Boston game. But now they've just gone back-to-back miserable losses. Is that a chemistry thing? What's the story? I don't know.
Some people just don't show up in big moments. I think that's what that is. That was your knock on Booker, remember?
Yep.
You're like, he doesn't show up in the playoffs.
Ghost.
That's a playoff game. That's a statement game, right? That's who's the best in the league early on the season, right? And think about how important this season is for the Suns. The Suns were embarrassed by 50 points to Luka in Game 7. this is their year, right? They're like, forget that. One game we're going to show out. And to get blown out that bad, I would not be buying any Suns cards. I would not be buying Booker cards. I think the window has closed on the Suns team, man. And I think they're one internal conflict away from just blowing up.
Can I say I wish I could go back in time and put some money on the Cubbies? It's pretty funny, right? So that's a joke. Obviously, that's from Back to the Future 2. But I wish I can go back a little while and maybe buy some Tatum stuff. I'm sure if you looked at the indexes, Tatum stuff is starting to move up a little bit, as he's talked about as a front runner for MVP. I will be the first one to say I was wrong about Tatum. You could probably go back and find some takes about how, it's a 1A, 1B situation where, Jaylen Brown is a similar player. I know you and I both talked about whether or not they could play in the same backcourt and the whole deal, whether they could play complementary basketball instead. While Brown is a good player and a very good player, he has not taken the leaps forward that Tatum has in his game. Tatum even looks bigger. Like, he looks like he put on, like, some man size to him. He put on some shoulders, right? And, he's worked on his game. The outside jumper just looks smoother. It looks like he can get it with less space. And he looks like he's playing with this. I mean, there's an air about the top players in the league. They have it, right? You can tell there's a swagger. Luka plays with it, even though he's never won anything. But he plays with, like, a swagger of, like, I am that guy. Booker does not play with that. Tatum this year is playing like that. And there's no tangible stat. I can't tell you someplace to look on the back of his basketball card to see this. If you watch their games, bro, you can see it. That's my take on Tatum.
How important is coaching in the NBA? Like think about the coaching carousel that they went through. I don't know if people remember. Brad Stevens was the coach. Went to Ime Udoka. Now I can't remember his name, but the youngest coach in the NBA is 34 years old. Played at West Virginia, and they haven't skipped a beat, man.
It's easy to coach when you have great talent.
Even on defense.
Yeah, I mean, I think this guy was an assistant coach, so he's probably just continuing the same defensive strategies that he had. Okay. Plus, that team, of all the teams out there, that's a good defensive team. I mean, they got Ian told me yesterday we were watching the game. He said Marcus Smart is this generation's. Ian, do you remember? Payton. Marcus Smart is this generation's. Dennis Rodman.
Oh.
He said he knows his role, not because he gets rebounds, and he likes it because of his hair.
Cajun's gonna get hella mad about this.
Why?
Cajun doesn't, because he's funny. Cajun with role players. You'll look at all the text.
But I mean, listen, those guys know their role. That guy plays defense. He doesn't have to put up 30 points. He doesn't have to be the guy who's scoring. And they know their roles. I mean, the Williams guys down low, they clean up the garbage. I mean, Grant Williams. If I saw him on the street, I would challenge him in a one-on-one. He looks like he's a roly-poly. He doesn't look like he's, but
Too Thick Pod should recruit him.
He does his thing. You know what I mean? And he's not going to get any glory. He's sort of like a pudgy Draymond. He's annoying. Like, I want to punch him. He's got a very punchable face, like some co-hosts I know. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is, brother. I mean, like, that team, they'll grow on me. I hate rooting for Boston. So I will not be rooting for these guys. But they're playing well. And you know what's funny? Let me just put a little icing on this. You're sitting here saying the Suns, don't bet on, don't bet on. It's so funny how, like, expectations, reality, level setting, you name it. Like, the Suns are a team that's a game away from going to the finals. They were in the finals. They're supposed to be, like, this close to a championship. I was listening to sports radio today, and the comments was like, hey, the Knicks looking up. Look at that. They got Grimes in the rotation. Their rotation's great. And one more win, and they're back to 500. And you're like, oh, my God. Like, these guys are complimenting a 12-13 Knicks team who, I will give them credit, has played some defense. Look what they did the last two games. They're holding teams under 100. Nobody scores under 100. They got two straight games where they held the Hawks and
the
I think the Cavs. Both
89 and 81.
Yeah, in the 80s. Two teams. Like, you don't see that kind of defense anymore. But they've been playing some good naggy defense. I mean, Julius Randle, look how many rebounds Julius Randle had last night.
Two card topics.
Shoot.
So I was thinking of a card. I gave this card to CJ McCollum, believe it or not. And I miss it so much. It was a gift I actually kind of regretted giving.
CJ, give it back. You know you listen.
It's one of the first cards I bought. It wasn't an investment card. It was just like, this card is sick. It was the Kobe Bryant black front card, blank front card. Do you remember this card or no?
Mm-mm.
A lot of people don't know about this card. It's actually from his rookie year. It reminds me of the blank slate cards that are going around right now. Are you gonna look it up or are you leaving? Anyway, so why I thought of that card, I was like, I gave that card to CJ. Let's see what that card's doing, right? So I go on Card Ladder, I search the card. It's called Ultra Rising Stars blank front Kobe card. It's actually from his rookie year. Looks similar to the blank front Court Kings card right now. And believe it or not, a PSA 10 hasn't sold since 2019.
Wow.
Okay? And it got me thinking, guys, there are cards that aren't selling on auction all the time. There are cards out there. So what we're seeing when prices get wrecked are all of these cards that hit auction and sell time and time and time and time again. Okay, but what about the cards that haven't done that, right? There has to be some. So it got me thinking, this card, the last sale was May 20th, 2019 at PSA 10. PWCC, $360.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee that card has sold privately more times. And I'm curious what the true value of that card is. It's one of my favorite cards, and I wanted to share it with Luca Nation because maybe they could start thinking what cards meet that criteria. The second topic, I was doing a demo with a data company. Is my camera okay, or is there a little?
It's going bright and then not bright and the whole. But it's fine. It's fine. Just finish your stuff.
Okay. And the second topic was I was doing a demo with a data company today. They're walking me through their platform, and they do cards and they do wax. And you know the one product that's up this year that's up tremendously? It's Pokemon Wax. Pokemon Wax has done amazing this year. And it got me thinking, maybe, you know how we talk about how wax is a good investment? Well, it's not a great investment when everything's going up because cards probably outperform wax. But in a down market, wax actually works in your favor, especially if you buy the right wax and you're able to do that research and find which wax is the right wax. What's amazing about it is it's deflationary. It's deflationary, and it gives you an opportunity to bet on the rookie class or demand in Pokemon or whatever the wax you're buying versus a single card that is going to hit time and time and time again on auction. So those are the two things that today I kind of was top of mind that I wanted to share with Luca Nation.
I love it. The Pokemon Wax, I can tell you I'd have to do a lot of research because, we go into the show and I'm like, Ian, you want to buy, this table has packs for $3. Tell me you'll buy 7 of them for $20. And he doesn't. The guy says, sure. And he goes over to another one. This guy has packs. And I said, Ian, do the same deal. And Ian tells me, no, that pack's going to be way more than $3. That's a rarer pack. It's got better stuff in it. The guy's like, that pack's $8. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, he knows. I don't know. And so there are some boxes, I guess, that have better hits in them, better cards, better secondary. It's not like, all right, well, that's a better one 2018 because, it's got Luca in it. So that's better wax than the one from, 2015. But I guess the Pokemon is a similar thing. It's got a better rookie class or a better, chase of some art cards.
Better chase, right? And of course, our audience should go out and do their own research and reach out to Bro Namath and reach out to Don Diego or whoever is that you follow in TCG. But you could also apply this to sports,
Mm-hmm.
And in a market that's volatile like this, maybe take a look at wax. I haven't heard other accounts, other content creators, anyone else talking about wax, and I was like, we had the demo and I was looking at the indices and data and all that stuff. And as I was getting walked through, you could see, red, 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 red. And then wax was green, 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 green. And I was like,
wow,
this is really interesting.
It's pretty cool. It's cool how people have the data out there on that stuff. All right,
we lay it out for them to play it out. We lay it
World
out for
Cup.
you guys to play.
You hate predictions. But I got to tell you, I missed the last 2 days. There's been no games.
Too.
I watched like 1,000 games in a row, and then 2 days there's no games. And I'm going to work tomorrow, so I'm going to miss Croatia, Brazil.
No, you're not.
Yeah, I got to work.
Call out.
Yeah, no, can't do it. So talk to me. If you had to just pick one team right now that you think makes it all the way through, is it France? Is it Portugal? Who's going to win the whole thing?
Can I pick two teams? I think
sure, pick two.
I think Portugal's going to win it all.
Okay.
I've said that from the get. I think they have the most complete team and they have the most dynamic team. What's also awesome is you're finally starting to see good teams mesh. Because if you remember, man, Argentina lost to Saudi Arabia.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Like, so in the beginning, there was that feeling out process you and I discussed because they didn't have the chemistry. Now you're seeing some great games. You have Croatia, Brazil, Netherlands, Argentina. Let me see. You have Morocco, Portugal is going to be a fun one, and England, France. I mean, those are all fantastic games. For me, I think France and Portugal are the two best teams. I do. I think Mbappe is the best player in this tournament by a mile, and I think Portugal is the most complete team that adds experience, speed, youth, all of that stuff. Brazil is good, but I think they're a little overrated, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them go out tomorrow versus a much more experienced team.
That
Brazil
would be
is
a huge upset, but yeah, it's all right.
it's
Just
it
because
is
Croatia
actually.
just squeaked by in the last game and Brazil won by a blowout, so the odds are skewed that way.
Plus
If you're
800 to
really thinking
Croatia.
Croatia, that you could get good lines on them tomorrow.
I don't think that they'll win in regulation time, though. I think that they're going to sit back and kind of absorb pressure. The one thing that people don't realize with Brazil, they have a fantastic goalie in Alisson, but their defense hasn't been tested. So, right, like one moment you get a goal and then you kind of now you absorb pressure. I'm not impressed by Netherlands or Argentina. Either of those teams have not impressed me.
I'm
So,
not impressed. George St. Pierre, he does it again. All right, guys, that's another one. This is fun. We got a little basketball, we got a little baseball, we got a little soccer, we got a little fun guest coming tomorrow, and yeah, we'll just keep churning them out. And guys, so we got a new show coming out Tuesday, more collector focus. You guys will see that Tuesday the 13th. Guys, go check out Cajun's channel, all the different content that's out there. Have another Black Jada Wolf Uncaged next week. Don't know if it'll be Monday. We'll see when we're going to do that. I'll try to keep it on that schedule. And also,
well, we aired on Wednesdays.
if you listen to this, yeah. So if you listen to this, go ahead and head over to our Instagram page where we got our voting already going on for the Luca Nation 2022 look back on the year and tell us who your favorites are in a multitude of categories.
Yep.
You got so many categories. Don't know exactly what you win when you win this, other than just the ability to kind of take a bow. But maybe we'll come up with something. Who the hell knows?
I really am thinking about it, but we're waiting for a few people to blink, so that will help with that. But we're definitely trying to add prizes to it. Today's 12/8. Remember, we have 17 days till Christmas. We're gonna probably have one a day. So there's gonna be some serious ones, best auction house, best grading company, but there'll be fun ones, favorite hobby drama,
favorite hobby memer.
Best hobby memer, best tinfoil hat account, best newcomer in content. So we'll definitely start to kind of mix it up. So work with us. If a category is not for you, no problem. Also, remember, you could add your own nominee. So if you don't see someone you love and you're like, hey, this company fits this category well, put it in the comments. That's absolutely fine.
We're also getting people sending us messages saying, hey, for this category, you guys got to put this person in.
Yep.
Give us a shout if you got somebody you want to nominate. Thanks, everybody.
So thank you all for listening to another episode of Lucas, Tigers, and Bronzo My. I wanted to tell you about a new service that we have starting as of today, and I'm really, really excited to bring it to you guys. So as a part of our partnership with SGC, we got 50 free submissions every single month, and many of you have taken advantage of that. And it's amazing that we could have the opportunity to 650 episodes, 675 episodes in, to go ahead and give back to our community. As people were sending those cards in, they asked, can we send 5, 10, 20 more cards to you guys? We'll pay for it, but we wanted them graded with SGC. You guys know SGC is turning cards around in 13 to 14 business days, have incredible customer service, and their secondary market values are going up day after day after day. And that's exciting for the hobby and exciting for the grading landscape. So we didn't want to just rush into it. We wanted to do it right. And what we did was I relocated here to Boca Raton, Florida. I opened up a P.O. box maybe 5 minutes away from SGC, and I will be hand delivering and hand picking up the cards. So you don't have to worry about anyone else touching your cards. It will be me, and I will update you every step of the way. So here's how it's going to work. I'm going to personally pick up the cards from a P.O. box, prep them, new card saver, new penny sleeve, and deliver them to SGC every single Tuesday. Why Tuesday? Well, it lets the stragglers over the weekend come back through on Monday and gives me a day to prep, and it basically gives SGC the entire week to work on grading those cards. Once your cards pop, only then at the end of the process will you be paying for the service. It's $25 per card, simple as that, and the turnaround times have never been faster. We're hearing right now 13, 14, less than 20 business days. So there it is, 9170 Glades Road, number 135 is the P.O. Box in Boca Raton, Florida, 33434. 9170 Glades Road, number 135, Boca Raton, Florida, 33434. Of course, you could shoot me an email or shoot me a text anytime, and I'm always available. Many of you already have my email. It's iamandrewgoldberg@gmail.com, or my cell phone number, 215-519-9154. Reach out with any questions. I could walk you through the process. I've hopped on the call with quite a few of you, and I'm happy to do that. Love you, Luca Nation.